everybody. Welcome. Thank you for your positive spirit and energy, even on this rainy day as we proceed through the busy fall term. Our parents and alumni, I know, enjoyed being back on campus last week. And incredibly, we are hosting more than 200 families for tours and interviews between now and the end of the fall term. So please continue to welcome our guests to Suffield warmly. I know you're very hard at work. We have 3 weeks of classes before the fall exam, so please stay focused and supportive of each other. And as always, ask for help if you need it. Today's chapel will begin with Lauren and conclude with Morgan. Lauren.
Hi, my name is Lauren Egan, and I'm a 4-year senior from Scituate, Rhode Island. 9 years ago today, my family and I buried my grandmother, who we call Ned. Today is also her 75th birthday. It only felt right to me to take this time to talk about her and the people I love, because she always told me how important it is to appreciate the people you care for. Growing up, my brother and I spent every summer at my mem and Pep's house, spending all day in the pool and having hamburgers and hot dogs every night. Even though sometimes she cooked the hamburgers so much they were as hard as hockey pucks, it was still the best time. The 4 of us spent every moment together those summers, playing in the pool, going shopping, watching soap operas, and we never missed watching the Yankees play, ever. She was the biggest Yankees fan and the reason my brother and I are such huge fans, including naming all of the pets we've ever had after Yankees players, like my little puppy now, Yogi, named after Yogi Berra. This obviously does not look good for us now, but like my brother and I always say, at least we aren't Red Sox fans. Spending every summer together, my brother David and I grew very close and quickly became best friends. Now we do everything together and tell each other everything. Whether we are in the back seat talking bad about my dad's driving or watching our favorite teams play, we are always laughing and having fun. Even when we disagree, my mom always makes sure to remind us that we are brother and sister forever, no matter what. My parents, like my mom, always stressed with my brother and I the importance of love and being there for the people you love. Because of them, I know how lucky I am every day. Their love and support has helped me through so much, big and small. So this is my family back home in Rhode Island, but I can't end this speech without talking about my family in Suffield. During my time at Suffield, I have met so many people that I know I get to call family. Being a little far from home has made me build relationships with people that I will never forget. When I first came to Suffield, I was a little nervous about the distance from my family, but things quickly changed. My best friend Lauren and her family brought me in and always treated me like one of their own. When they realized that Lauren and I are pretty much the same person, they were a little overwhelmed. But we always have a good time. From many country concerts this summer to Papa and Dama attending Grandparents' Day with me, I always feel like a part of the family. Lauren has become the sister that I never had and I know will always be there for me. My Suffield family also includes my friends who have been there through thick and thin. Morgan is the only person that can handle living with me 24/7 and has to follow me to college because no one else sleeps with white noise. Ellie, although doesn't seem to care about my well-being when she's driving, is always there for me when I need it. Natalie, although very small, has a ton of energy and always knows how to have fun. I know I can always count on Bryn to make me laugh until our stomachs hurt. And Campbell, being one of my first friends at Suffield, has seen it all and always has the best advice to give me. Together, we are always there for each other and have built a strong connection I know is unbreakable. So living away from home isn't too bad when I have so many people I can call family. Suffield has helped me find the most amazing people and memories that will last forever. Thank you not only to my friends, but to my coaches, teachers, and advisor for making this an amazing place that I will remember and can always call home. Thank you.
Hi Suffield, I'm Noelle Uchitel, I've lived on 2 different coasts in 6 different houses, and Suffield is the 8th school I've attended. These many changes in varied environments from location to education have not only formed who I am, but have ultimately led me to Suffield. When reflecting on what I wanted to write my chapel speech about, I began to think more about how I got here and the evolution of my educational journey. So today, I decided to take you through the many differing schools that I've attended and the impact that they've had. My education began in Tribeca, New York at Beach Street Montessori in a hyper-competitive environment. Parents started putting applications in for preschool the minute the kids were born, and my spot was secured when my mom bribed the administration with dresses from the designer she worked for. I then went to PS 234, an equally sought-after public elementary school. 234 was a very diverse and unique school, a true neighborhood experience with a park across the street, an ice cream shop in front to tempt us daily, and consistent field trips taking us all over the city. My family decided to shake things up, and we relocated to our Beacon house, a little over 2 hours away from the city near Woodstock, New York. I attended Woodstock Day School, which was a tiny private school. The campus was made up of small country houses and was extremely progressive. I had 7 kids in my grade, and the school believed in learning through life skills such as cooking, gardening, and camping versus traditional homework or how to do long division. Well, at the time it did not faze me, it ultimately set me back academically. We decided to return to Tribeca at PS 234, and I had a rude awakening back in the city, forcing me to work extra hard to catch up with my class. Next stop was public middle school, where I went to the Clinton School for Artists and Writers. Please note, I am neither an artist nor a writer. Located in Union Square, my parents allowed me to take the subway alone to and from school every day at the age of 10, and I loved the independence. Sadly, this did not last, as a year later, my dad decided he could no longer stand living in Manhattan, so we moved to Los Angeles. I went from having full autonomy to being dropped in Laurel Canyon with no place to walk to and no way to get around by myself. Due to the last-minute move, I was late in applications and landed at an Academy for the Creative Arts, New Technology, and Social Justice, known as the Tree Academy. This school was in its 2nd year and held temporarily in an old synagogue in Hollywood. I was back to small class sizes and an even more progressive curriculum than before. Included self-guiding learning, no homework, and literally no structure whatsoever. I was a 7th grader in math with 10th graders, answering more questions than they could. It was clearly not a fit, and I transferred mid-year to the Wesley School. While still small, it had a lot more academic rigor and structure. I was shocked to see my classmates cry and complain when they got a 96 on an exam. This school instilled a high academic pressure, ultimately setting the foundation for the rest of my education. My last stop in California was Notre Dame High School, a classic high school like John Hughes or Friday Night Lights. There were pep rallies and freshman hazing combined with religious studies, a hardcore dress code where skirts were measured with rulers, and a zero-tolerance policy. Academic expectations were set high, yet teachers were extremely distant, leading me to feel lost. Then, COVID hit during the March of my freshman year, and the even greater lack of connection was amplified by no physical interaction or events. In the middle of quarantine, I began to think about my alternatives. I ultimately wanted to leave LA and return to a supportive community, ideally back on the East Coast. Knowing my parents would never relocate, I started looking into boarding schools and slowly persuaded them to let me go. I initially found Suffield by Googling best boarding schools on the East Coast, and then got recommendations and guidance through friends and alumni. Once accepted, I came out for a visit, and after meeting students and faculty, it was honestly a no-brainer. At Suffield, I've made deeper connections than I made through all my other experiences combined. I finally found a school that combines all the aspects I sought through the trials of my journey to date, and has furthermore given me the basis to take my next steps into college and beyond. I want to thank everyone who has made my experience here so special. You all know who you are. And to the entire Suffield community for welcoming, guiding, and supporting me, and for being the happiest end to my high school journey. Thank you.
Hi Suffield, my name is Charlie Zimmerman, and I'm a 3-year boarder from Atlanta, Georgia. I've traveled to many places and done a lot that many would consider bucket list worthy. In 2012, my family took a trip to Israel. Since I'm Jewish, this was a deeply meaningful experience. I remember tucking my note into the Wailing Wall and thinking of all those who have tucked their wishes in Paris into that same wall. On the same trip, I also traveled to Jordan. I remember the border crossing experience. I was a bit afraid to go into this country. I didn't really know if I would be welcome. While we were there, I rode a camel. That was something that had been on my bucket list for a really long time. Jordan felt very foreign to me. I'm not sure why, but I decided to buy a keychain as a souvenir. I heard Jordan. This may have not been the best idea because it caught the eye of the agents at the airport in Israel. I was questioned about it. They thought I might have loyalties to Jordan. Really, I just enjoyed the memories I made. In 2014, my family and I traveled to Tanzania and East Africa. I was able to see animals that I had only seen in zoos. I loved that so much. I also enjoyed meeting local people. I was able to play soccer with some other kids in their school. I was able to go to their homes. I truly loved experiencing this different culture. This past summer, I was able to go to Peru and see Machu Picchu. This was surreal. I was amazed that I was in a sacred place that has existed for so long. It was fascinating for me to see how it was built to worship the sun god. While I was in Peru, I helped build soccer fields for a school. I can say that I have literally carried buckets of dirt as part of a bucket list experience. I believe many of my bucket list items that I haven't checked off yet could be life-changing, and some could be pure celebratory moments. I can't wait to experience more cultures and places that are unlike what I've imagined. Next on my bucket list is skydiving. I want to feel the exhilaration of the free fall and the feeling of landing on the ground. Seeking the adrenaline rush and pushing myself is something I really enjoy. I love that feeling of accomplishment after doing something that previously scared me. My mom and I have made the plan to skydive together once I graduate Suffield Academy. Also, I would like to study abroad in London. I want to immerse myself in the culture. I picture myself living in a flat, buying goods at the local market, and truly experiencing being a Londoner. I can already imagine the colorful umbrellas I will buy. Going to boarding school was definitely on my bucket list. Going to Rumsey Hall at first scared me, as I have never been away from home, and I'm so glad that I found a home there, and now ultimately here at Suffield. My chapel speech was also a big item on my bucket list. I'm glad I got to share with all of you my passion for traveling and experiencing new cultures, and also my love of seeking thrilling moments. I hope all of you do something that scares you this year, or steps out of your comfort zone into a new place. There is so much out there to discover, and I hope you all check at least one thing off your bucket list while you're here at Suffield. Thank you.
Have you ever seen those TikTok videos on girls that have a morning routine? They wake up super early, tidy their bed, tidy their room, reorganize everything. They do a whole bunch of stuff in the mornings where they make espresso at home, and then they put on an outfit that's very uniform in color. Just, I don't know, they look super organized. I'm both curious and envious at how clean and organized they are, because I can't do it. See, we go to school every morning at 8 a.m., and I sometimes wake up at 7:45. I just roll out of bed, do basic hygiene, pick an outfit that looks relatively good, and go to class pretending like I didn't just wake up 15 minutes ago. And of course, sometimes that takes just a bit longer. So I would like to apologize to Ms. Powey and Mrs. Galtwas for all my tardies and absences last year. Fortunately, I'm A3 this year, which means I have sleep-ins. You expect that I'm on time now, but no, I'm not. I already had the honor of a tardy and an absence from a darling advisor and English teacher Miss Smith. And no, they are not from Thursday's 8 a.m. classes. I'm truly sorry, Miss Booth, and I'm working on my sleeping schedule now, and hopefully you won't have to call or text me before class to make sure I'm awake. So you see, there are all these other girls on TikTok. They wake up at 6, and then they do an entire workout, eat breakfast, and then they do all the stuff that's good for your body and mind, and there's me, who is still late for class even though I have a sleep in. So if you're one of the people who wake up super early, get all their stuff done in the mornings, and then somehow still have the energy to walk through the day, please teach me. I need to know all your secrets and all your tricks about how you do it. Very important. While I may joke about my struggles with how I struggle to get to class in the morning, in reality, there's a more serious side to it. When I first came to Suffield after a year of online learning due to COVID, I felt left out. This, combined with all the stress from academics, I felt I was not listening. Sometimes emotions are hard to express in words, and I was not used to sharing my feelings, so I hid them. I used laughter as a way of self-defense, which in turn resulted in more negative emotions, such as anxiety and frustration. That was when Ms. Booth started to take me out to Dairy Queen for ice cream, and started asking me to do art after school. To me, art and visual symbols are the communication link between the unconscious and conscious awareness. Art helped me express myself that words alone cannot. There were times when I finished one of my doodles and immediately crumpled up the paper and throw it into the trash. Yes, finished art is something that can be torn, crumpled, and thrown away, symbolically expressing the experience of letting go of myself. There were other times when I incorporated my emotions into my art, like using complementary colors, adding texture, or using symbols. Through making art, I slowly worked it out. Hence, although I might never be those crazy TikTok girls who wake up super early, I'm working on a schedule that will fit me best. After listening to my stories and getting to know me a bit more, I think it's time to formally introduce myself. I'm Julia Bao, a 3-year senior from Shanghai, China, and thank you for listening to my speech.
Hi Suffield, my name is Hugo Hardwick and I'm a 4-year senior from, well, all over. What really defines a home or where you come from? Suffolk Academy, New York City, and Lake Tahoe, California are all where I've been living for the past 11 years. These are all considered homes for me, but nothing equates to where I was born and spent 7 years of my life, Sydney, Australia. Today I will be talking about my home and sharing some stories with you about some close encounters and near-death experiences from when I lived in Australia. But before that, I'd like to clear up some stereotypes I have heard over the past 11 years about Australia. Firstly, kids do not ride an emu or kangaroo to school every day, instead of taking the school bus. And no, I have never gone into a boxing fight with a kangaroo. We do not say, put a shrimp on the barbie, either. Believe it or not, these are all questions that I've been asked over the past 11 years, courtesy of Owen Arnold. So, I'm going to share some near-death stories with you about my 7 years growing up in Australia. My journey begins as early as I can remember, when I was 4 years of age. Me and a good mate of mine, Nelson, had been swimming in an ocean pool. If you don't know what that is, feel free to search it up later. But while we were swimming in this ocean pool, we would wait for waves to crash next to us and send water flying into the pool. What we didn't realize was that a baby shark flew in too. Nelson noticed it first and pointed it out to me. Being the stupid kids we were at the time, we didn't choose to get out of the water and scream, but instead dive down and try to swim with it. I almost lost my fingers that day. That was my first shark encounter. To this day, I've had 4 shark encounters and still love the ocean. The second story I want to tell you about took place a little further inland, which is one place that you don't normally want to be if you're afraid of things in Australia that are out to get you. I was on a camping trip with my brother and my dad. Me and my brother were hiking and we came across an eastern ground snake, which can kill you in one bite. We both knew exactly what it was and ran so fast in the other direction, I'm sure the snake never even knew we were there. I still haven't run that fast to this day. I'm chill with most snakes, but not that one. Another time that Australia lived up to its stereotypes, I was with 2 of my mates at a friend's farm. They had all the normal farm animals, pigs, horses, chickens, and cattle. The one animal that wasn't really a farm animal, but was still on the farm, was a wild boar. Me and my 2 mates had a terrific idea to jump the barbed wire fence and pretend as though we were bullfighting the wild boar. Surprisingly, it worked for a little while, and we weren't doing too bad until a second wild boar came over to join the fun. That's when we decided to run back and jump over the barbed wire. As we were jumping over, 2 out of the 3 of us cut ourselves. When we got back to where we were staying, we told our parents we cut ourselves on a thorn bush. Sorry, Mom and Dad, at least you know now though. Now for the story that some people might not like because it's about spiders. We were in Western Australia on another camping trip, doing normal outdoor activities like hiking and swimming. Every morning before getting dressed, we had to shake out our clothes and check our shoes for critters. Then, one morning, I didn't quite shake my shoes and clothes out hard enough. Everything was fine until a couple hours later when I found a white-tailed spider in my pants. It was not happy to be there and ended up biting my leg. My leg immediately swelled up and was the size of a bum or a baseball. That was a pretty bad experience, but for some reason, I still don't like spiders. Finally, going back towards the coast now. There was the last time I was back home, and my mate Charlie invited me to go freediving with him and a few other guys at the sketchy coral diving spot off the coast of Bondi Beach. What I did not know that day was where we were diving, there were lots of bait balls in that area, and it was a very sharky part of the coast. Nevertheless, we continued to freedive, exploring a couple of sunken boats and coral reefs. It was fun and chill until a female tiger shark swam over us as we were exploring the reef. For those who don't know, tiger sharks are the second most aggressive shark after the great white. And that one that we saw was around 10 feet, not even fully grown. I don't think I had a higher adrenaline spike ever in my life. Although I experienced so much fear during this encounter, I still have freediving with sharks intentionally as an item on my bucket list. I hope you all enjoyed the stories I shared today. You may remember this chapel speech, or you may not. At this time, I'd also like to thank my friends and family. I'd also like to say sorry to my parents because they have not heard some of these stories until today. I also hope for those who are listening that I didn't scare you away from traveling to Australia at some point. Thank you.
I'm turning 18 tomorrow. In many countries, including this one, that means that I'm going to be no longer a child. Starting tomorrow, I'm an adult. Depressing. We are in high school, preparing to go to college and become adults. Sometimes it might seem like we're supposed to lose the childlike, spontaneous part of us. I often ask myself, though, do I really have to? I have a question for all of you. Raise your hand if you ever climbed a tree when you were little. Makes sense, okay. So, now, how many of you have climbed a tree during the past year? Okay, that's my point. My name is Stacy Urkovskaya, and I love climbing trees. It was my favorite thing to do when I was younger. When I was 5, my favorite tree was right next to my grandma's house, and I had an existential crisis when she decided to cut it down and build a Russian sauna in its place. As I was getting older, my love for climbing trees did not get smaller, but it did get busier. When it came to Suffield, I pretty much stopped because with all the schoolwork, afternoon activities, and the never-ending stress, I often found myself not having the time and energy for something so seemingly unimportant. Nevertheless, during breaks, when I had the opportunity, I went back to my childhood hobby. Currently, my favorite tree in the whole world is this giant tree in the middle of the Central Park in New York City. I found it accidentally, but now I love it so much that I wrote my college essay about climbing it. Not only is climbing it so much fun, but also, when I'm on top of it, I can just sit, do nothing, and enjoy myself, which is not something that I often do at school. With all the schoolwork and college applications, it is still important to hold on to the childlike parts of us. We still need to have fun. I like climbing trees, but it can be anything that sparks that youthful joy that we so often forget about. Playing with toys, watching kids' TV shows, going on a merry-go-round, going to the playground and just riding a swing. Do all the silly things that make you happy. You do not outgrow them. They do not make you childish. A couple of weeks ago, my friends and I were bored, so we watched Frozen in reunion. Best experience, really recommend. Do not be afraid of other people judging you, because after all, who cares? Yes, we are growing up. Soon we all will be adults coming to the alumni reunion, but at least for now, let's stay young. I want to apologize to all of my friends who have been listening to me talking about my birthday nonstop for the past 2 weeks. I'm honestly kind of stressed out about being an adult, but at the same time, I'm excited. I want to get a tattoo. Shout out to my sister Katya, who told me not to give any shout outs so that I do not blur away attention from my speech. Thank you for your attention. Have a great day, Suffield.
Hi, Suffield. My name is Bridgie Hogan, and I'm a 4-year senior from San Francisco, California. Anyone who knows me knows that I always have a smile on my face. No matter what, where, or when, going into the day with a smile and a positive attitude brings out the best in me. I've never had a full year of high school, and yeah, I could sit around and mope about the cliche high school experience I dreamed of, but why do that when I can make it the way that I've always wanted it to be? So I'm a 4-year senior, but I've never had a full year of high school. I'm not that great at math, but that doesn't seem to add up. Well, like my peers, my freshman and sophomore years were obstructed by COVID. My junior year, however, was a different story. On February 14th, 2022, near the end of winter term, I flew back home. A week before I boarded that plane, I met with all of my teachers and told them I would be leaving, and if all goes to plan, I would be back in 6 weeks, about when March break ended. But so many years of my life I've spent hiding my body, a sickness, trauma, hiding it all in hopes that if I never talk about it, it wouldn't exist. The thoughts, however, were very real. The made-up idea of control is something that mental illness tells us, whispers in our ears that we're actually the ones in our control. They manipulate our thoughts, our feelings, tell us that this food is labeled as bad and this good. But the funny thing about eating disorders is we use them to gain back control, but really it's the thing controlling us. So about 11 years of built-up thoughts and trauma to be gone in 6 weeks, that definitely was not the case. On January 23rd, I was admitted into a mental health and eating disorder treatment center called the Healthy Teen Project. There, I met some of my best friends and some of the most amazing people ever. I spent 4 months in that facility, learning things to work to help heal myself and unlearning things that didn't. I learned that I hate diagnoses because my illnesses don't define me, that talking about difficult things can make your recovery journey really work, and that my body doesn't have to live my life. I would say no to so many things because I was worried about judgment. My little nutrition intake made my body and mind weak, and I would isolate myself to no end, worried that I would never be sick enough. But the truth is, there isn't a sick enough, there's just sick. You don't have to look into a certain way to be diagnosed with a certain eating disorder. They're mental illnesses. The word deserve has been used as a blaming tool all my life, but in my recovery process, I've learned that it can be used to heal too. I deserve love. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to have a choice to say no. I deserve kindness and compassion, and for the first time, I'm believing those words. And you all deserve that too. Another thing that pretty much everyone knows about me is that I love people. I love meeting new faces, learning their stories, talking and making friends. It makes me happy seeing people happy. So to all my teachers these past years, especially my teachers last year, thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I would not be where I am now without your continuous support and patience. You make going to class full of positivity easy. My relationships with faculty throughout my years here have been some of the most amazing ones I've ever had, and I know I can always count on them. Thank you to my parents and siblings for being right by my side my entire life. I love you guys so much. Thank you to Sarah and Adam for teaching me how to appreciate myself and all my body does for me. I wouldn't be here without you. And to Miss Green, you've been my advisor for all not really 4, but kind of 4 years, and I'm so glad we stuck together through it all. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. You're an absolutely magical human and my best friend. And to anyone else out here who might be struggling, this is your sign to ask for help. It's scary, I know it is, and I know that you may not want to, but a recovered life is a life worth living. Being content with yourself is the first step to being content with all relationships. To be able to fully love people, to stay positive in yourself, you need to accept yourself first. It's probably one of the hardest things that I had to do. And of course I still have off days. Of course I'm not 100% recovered yet. But part of growing up is combating those challenges and knowing that asking for help does not make you weak, it makes you stronger. And to finish this off, in the very wise words of RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Thank you.
Hello, Suffield. My name is Harold Chu, 4 years senior from Shanghai, China. Today I'll be discussing a few things to avoid during the high school years, because I experienced myself. And first, most importantly, is procrastination, which many have heard of, and but no one really cared about, including me. Not to mention that I began drafting the senior speech yesterday, around 5 to 6 p.m. I could be lying if I said I regretted spending almost 6 hours playing through the new Modern Warfare 2 campaign. But never do that, please. Because undertaking that much assignment at once is physiologically demanding and depletes all the motivation to complete the following assignments. It does not have any benefits, so just do not do it. And I have a quiet, very roommate, Tony, who usually started his homework for study hall. Whenever he does, I would laugh. Imagine working on homework right after the end of the day, while you're having fun. But thinking back, he was right. He has finished everything and didn't have to stress about anything. So like around 9 to 10, he's doing whatever he wanted to do, going through that TikTok and minding his stuff because he finished his homework early. And I was starting to get stressed towards all the work in front of me. So procrastination is a habit that must be broken to be more enjoyable, to do whatever you want, just get rid of it. And secondly, if not the most difficult task, Mr. Stephen here is waking up. But who could blame him? It is hard to get up and breathe. And the only thing you see is your own breath coming out of your mouth. That is 33 degrees outside and no one wanted to get up. And so did I. For the first week of freshman, I had 2 tardies already. And so I decided to get a new alarm. And also coordinating with my mom yelling at me worked perfectly. I would wake up, I would be late. Other than that, like that one time I forgot, and so that was okay. So you guys get how it works. And finally, giving up for anything is the most despised and unpopular behavior. Life is difficult, given all you got the remaining years at this amazing school. This is the most essential, and just to work hard, play hard. This has always been my favorite phase to use to motivate others. Remember, always push through any difficult tasks in your way at the end. Just wanted to thank my parents, my teacher, and shout out to Mr. Brunel, being my 4-year advisor. He kept contact with me even during the COVID pandemic, and I was back home doing all my classes. Helped me with everything that I asked for. That is it. Thanks so much for listening. Hello everyone, have a great day.
Hi Suffield. My name is Morgan Geisinger and I'm a 4-year senior from Vernon, Connecticut. A lot of speeches are aimed at the freshmen, telling them to branch out and try new things, to take risks, and to become an active member in Suffield's community and all that it has to offer. This isn't that speech. You can go ahead, check your snaps, put your AirPods in, do what you need to do, I get it. 9 speeches on a Monday afternoon isn't exactly what you had planned. My speech is for the seniors. I, probably as a lot of you do, have attachment issues. Suffield is one of those things that I'm attached to. It's become a significant part of my teenage years. I know this time is coming to let it go, but for some reason I don't want to move on. Suffield has made me feel so valued and so comfortable that I genuinely can't picture not moving back in next year for my PG year. But as seniors, as we approach graduation, we have to move on. And it's going to be hard. Even giving my speech, I'm astonished how fast these past 4 years have flown by. Maybe it's the closing night of your last musical, or your last at-bat when you're playing the game you've played for almost a decade. Maybe it's your last MCA meeting, or even your last sit-down lunch. Some of these lasts are just around the corner. Some of these things will be harder to let go of than others. No matter how hard you try to hold on tightly, no matter how badly you want to, eventually the time will come. For some of us, it will be easy. I'm going to be bawling my eyes out the whole time. But eventually we're going to have to begin these new chapters of our lives. And these new beginnings may look nothing like our lives today. New surprises could be hiding behind every corner. Yet, wherever the path may lead, I'm sure we will always be prepared, supported, and excited for our futures. Special shout out to all my teammates, advisory, castmates, teachers, classmates, and friends for having my back and being so supportive throughout my time here at Suffield in all the different aspects I've been involved in. Special shout out to Gabby Diaz, Bridgie Hogan, Kennedy Morris, Regan McCarthy, Gianna Strange, Ava Miller, Ava Maglieri, Maeve Salvatelli, Christian Rosinos, Chastity Blair, and so many more of you. Although we all come from different places and we don't share the same last name, you're all truly the people that make Suffield feel like my home. You're my family here, and hold such a special place in my heart. You are the reason I don't want to leave. And although, a shout out to all my family and to those back home, wherever you are, you're valued and loved. Thank you for all the opportunities I've been awarded. Thank you so much. I'm Morgan Geisinger and I approve this message. Thank you. You're all dismissed to G period. Have a great rest of your day.